At a broad macro level,
Sure.
I think it's only going to get better from a home warranty
Mhm.
industry perspective. COVID was a big hit. COVID was a big hit to home warranty. If you just carve out the home warranty, after COVID, it became a seller's market big time. And if it's a seller's market, then the attachment rates for home warranties is much lower. The big one that you mentioned, homes are getting older. So people are selling homes with older systems. Clearly, it becomes part of the negotiation. Home warranty it was invented from what I understand, unless I heard a myth, home warranty was invented in the real estate market like 60 years ago, precisely as a negotiation tool, as a way to smooth out a transaction.
Hello everyone, Rick Albert here with another episode of the Key to the City of Angels. Super excited to bring Matan Slagter here. Thank you so much for coming on.
Rick, thank you for having me.
All right, so you are the co-founder and CEO of Armadillo. It's like a home warranty company. Tell me a little bit about that, but also like how did you get into this space?
It wasn't a situation where I grew up knowing I'm going to end up in home warranty or have that as part of my career path. That's not what happened. I went into insurance. I was an actuary. These are the people that are really good at math and stats and probability, and they calculate the cost of insurance and reserves and all of those things that have to happen in the insurance industry.
Right.
And I did that for about 12, 13 years. And then I fell into warranty and ultimately home warranty. Warranty is like a close cousin to insurance.
It's almost the same.
Yeah. Fundamentally and mathematically, it's very much the same. And then from a regulatory perspective, there are some differences, but in many states, it's regulated by the same Department of Insurance. And when I was at AIG for 10 years, the insurance company, I fell in love with the warranty business. They had a big warranty business, and I spent a lot of time with the team there. And that's when I fell into it. And then you meet the right people, and you make a jump. And that's what happened with me in 2021.
What made you fall in love with home warranties? It's just not something you hear every day. Like I get, I fell in love with helping clients buy and sell homes, or I fell in love with being able to provide financing. It's like, no, I love providing home warranties. Like, what got you?
I will tell you, it's less falling in love with home warranty. I fell in love with the people in the business, in the warranty business at AIG. AIG acquired a warranty business. They did home warranty, but they also did appliance warranties and mobile phone protection like iPhone, Apple Care, stuff like that. And it's a business that AIG bought in 2012, and it was based out of Indiana, in Jeffersonville, Indiana. And I used to travel I live in New York, from New York to their offices. They had this cool office. It was like in this old train station that they rebuilt, and it was a huge call center. And it was like a small business owned by a large company, AIG, and they were like the opposite of everything else in a large company. They moved quickly. They were like entrepreneurial. So when I say fell in love with, even though I do love home warranty and we're in it and we're doing some cool things at Armadillo, I actually fell in love with this business, this really cool business that AIG acquired. And the people there, and we ended up hooking up with the guy who started that business. And he's now my partner, my co-founder, and one of the investors and the chairman. And one thing led to another. But yeah, so it's just a really exciting group of people. Yeah.
So tell me, because they have a similar... How do I word it? Okay, so they're similar to like insurance in the sense that people are like, what's a good home warranty company? Just like, what's a good insurance company? I don't know because I pay for it, but I've never actually had to use it. So like when you need them most, and that's where I think I know that's a lot of confusion with a lot of clients, which is a good home warranty company. I'm like, they all say they're going to do something, but until you actually need it. So where have you been seeing some of that disconnect, and like basically what's going on in the industry from that perspective? If that makes sense.
Yeah. First of all, fundamentally, the big difference between home warranty and insurance, let's say car insurance or home insurance, is that car insurance and home insurance, the frequency of claims, how often you use that product, it's very infrequent. It's unlikely you'll get into a car accident every year.
Mm-hmm.
It's unlikely your home is going to go on fire, be burglared, have a hurricane come through, flood, whatever it is, every year. Usually there is one claim every 6 to 8 years, from what I understand, being the actuary that I am. Whatever.
Yeah, of course.
But home warranty covers appliance and systems and plumbing and electric. These are things that break down. So on average, a good home warranty company will have an average of one claim per customer per year. So it's a much higher engagement product. And with home warranty, and therefore, anybody who buys a home warranty will likely interact with that company. You're not going to pay a premium and not use it. You will probably use it. Not everybody, but many home warranty clients will end up using it. And that's what's really cool about home warranty, that it's not insurance or financial protection only. It's also the ability to provide a great service to a homeowner when they need it and quickly. If the home breaks, if there's a homeowner's insurance claim and your home burned down, God forbid, it's a catastrophic event, but you're not expecting to fix it the next day. That's going to be a process, and there are things that go on with it. But if your fridge is out, or your oven is out, or your AC is out and it's 95 degrees, you got to get that fixed right away. So there's this expectation, this really high expectation from a homeowner perspective, and rightfully, there's a high level of engagement. A lot of things do break down in the home. And therefore, home warranty companies are in between financial protection, but also service providers. And I think the good ones are able to walk that line and provide both of those at a high level. And unfortunately, not every home warranty company is able to do that. But that's why we came in. We're trying.
It's funny you bring that up. So we just recently bought a new home, and like we have certain systems in the house that are totally functioning, totally fine, but they're on the older side. So it's like, well, I could replace it now or get like a 3-year home warranty, right, and see what happens. And look, if 3 years go by and we never have to use it, awesome. That's not a bad thing. But if not, we have some level of protection rather than me fronting the cost like right off the bat. So one of the concerns I hear a lot of is it even covered? That's one. Like, even like, where's the fine print? And then two, is it like, how do I know, is it 100% coverage versus partial coverage? Like, I know no one's going to get a complete roof. That one's usually pretty clear. It's usually like covering certain leaks, but like a hot water heater or whatever, like where have you been seeing some of the challenges with fine line?
Yeah, I think it's almost like health insurance, like anything in the home can break down at any point, and the devil's in the detail because every breakdown is different. What I will tell you, depending on the situation, home warranty can cover a lot, minus usually there's a service fee, which is $100 on average across companies. And in some instances, the home warranty will not cover much. And it really depends on what it is. A typical home warranty product will cover the things inside of the foundation of the home. So sometimes we'll see an issue coming in for a plumbing line, like the sewage line that goes from the street to the home. And that's usually not covered unless there was an add-on that was part of the product. So we'll see a situation where a client thought it was covered or doesn't understand that it wasn't covered to begin with. And maybe they weren't even offered the add-on. So they feel like if I was offered the add-on, I would have added it. So there's a lot of communication. I think the industry could do better as a whole on communicating with customers and educating them on their coverage. Without being self-promotional, I will say that one of the things we do is there's a welcome call that goes to every new client where we actually have a person that guides a new member and says, welcome to Armadillo, and you're a member. Here's how to get the most out of your product. Here are the things that are covered. Here's what's not covered. We actually talk about what's not covered in that welcome call.
And actually, it's funny because I was just going to ask that, what you guys do. So it's more about that personal communication rather than you hope to never hear from them.
Yes, I know that there is this mantra in general. If you don't hear from a customer, they're a very profitable customer, but we feel like we're in the business of having lifelong relationships with our homeowners. And the only way to do that in this industry, at the very least, and a lot of other industries as well, is to provide the best service. Ultimately, we're a for-profit company, so we price the product at a level where there's some level of profit, but it's all reasonable, we believe, and we try to pay back as the maximum amount that we can pay back to homeowners. It's what we refer to as loss ratio internally. The portion of the revenue that we collect that we end up paying back, it's higher than most of our competitors, most of our peers, because we pay back, or at least we try.
Yeah, it's interesting because like most people I know, usually the first year's cover, typically the seller pays for it. It's rare. Right. I've heard of it. I notice it mostly in the older crowd, to be fair, where they tend to renew, but the younger crowds don't. So I'd be curious to hear from you, like in terms of your demographics. Or is it mostly the younger crowd that's renewing? Is it the older crowd? Like, where are we? What is your avatar, basically?
If we focus on real estate, so Armadillo has a real estate part of our business, and we have sales executives across the country that work with real estate brokerages, and there's that channel. And I think there we see a pretty consistent first-year renewal rate across first-time homeowners, as well as it could be empty nesters, older people that buy a smaller home, downgrade, and they don't need the space anymore. We do see consistency in the renewals that come across. We do see that individuals that use the product, they end up filing a claim, renew at a higher rate. So if you didn't use the product in that first year, it's almost like, why do I need it? And you never paid for it. Most of the time, the seller paid for it. So we're now, all of a sudden, you're talking to Armadillo, you didn't use the product, and Armadillo says, I need your credit card in order to renew your plan. So it's almost like selling a new product to a certain extent. But we do see a consistency in renewal rates. It is a low first-year renewal rate in real estate. Sure. And that's true of any home warranty company. And then in other channels, first year and second year and third year renewal rates are very good, very high outside of real estate. And that's because you pay for the product upfront with your own credit card. So there's a high level of intent. It's not gifted. It's not a concession. It's not a secondary kind of a thing. Yeah. But we do have a lot of older customers. We have first-time homeowners. We have a growing segment of landlords, mostly small landlords that have less than 20 units. The larger ones have economies of scale.
So let's talk about the landlords for a second. Why are you seeing an increase in activity on the landlord side? I mean, I could take a guess, but I'm curious to see what you say.
It's funny because that is a segment that we fell into as a result of one partnership that happened a few years ago with a company called Turbo Tenant. Yep. You've heard of Turbo Tenant. On the show. They've been on the show. That's great. And so we partnered with them a few years ago and came through a mutual introduction. I think one of their venture capital investors introduced us, and we partnered, and it just ended up working very well. It was our first funnel with landlords primarily, and we learned that it's usually the small scale landlords that have 2 to 20 units. And now we have a dedicated, essentially, sales consultant that only deals with landlords. So it happened organically, and thanks to Turbo Tenant. I think that what we've learned is landlords have homes in a lot of different geographical areas, and we don't have ones with less than 20 units are great prospects for a home warranty. And when I say great prospects, it's a mutually beneficial type of a thing. It's like we take away some of their headaches. Many of the landlords will ask Armadillo to deal with the tenants directly for certain issues. Other landlords will say, hey, Armadillo, I'm going to be the in-between, but can I use my own technicians? Absolutely, Armadillo. Like, our product is built so that you could choose to use your own. You don't have to use our network of technicians. And that was a very important feature for landlords, actually, because a lot of them have already relationships with techs. So all of that kind of worked very well, and that started a few years ago. It's been a growing segment for us.
Well, I'll tell you, so as a landlord, people keep talking about, there's rising costs, insurance is an issue. I think personally the biggest issue is honestly repairs and like cost of construction. It has just gotten, like this is a year or two ago, I just spent almost $5,000 to trim back a tree. Because it was just this massive tree. And I'm like, this is personally, I like multifamily, like the 2 to 4 unit space, because I need the higher rents to compensate for that tree, because that tree was going to need to be cut, whether it was a single family home or multifamily, didn't matter. So to your point, kind of economies of scale, but we are seeing homes are getting older, just in general, right? I think the average age of a home now is 36 years old, which in human years, that's very young. But home years, if the average system lasts 30 years on a good day, that means everything needs to get replaced.
That's right. It's probably already on the second generation, like going into the third generation of certain systems.
100%. So how are you guys preparing for that? Because in theory, with these homes getting older, you might start seeing more claims down the road.
Yeah, it's that. It's also inflation in home repairs and parts and everything else that's been going on. We actually have different products. We do have a separate product for new construction where everything is new. Sure. Right? Like, you get the same coverage, but for 5 years instead of 1 year, because everything is new. The way it works for us, and me being an actuary, we essentially price our products for the average system type and age, and over time maybe that average age needs to go up because all the homes are getting older. And in different parts of America also have different trends, like Louisiana, Florida, you'll see different types of breakdowns than you would see in another part of the country, for example. But we deal with that. We have rates, actuarial rates, that are basically assume the average severity, average frequency. And as these trends fit in, we see those rates going up, and we build it into our prices. Whatever we're seeing other home warranty companies are saying, that the most important thing is to stay competitive with the other players, both in terms of the value that we can provide as well as the price. But there's nothing we can do about it.
Right.
It's just it's like life insurance. The older you are, the more expensive.
We all start to fall apart. Totally get it. I know when I turned 35, I hurt my back somehow. I'm like, what just happened? And I went to the emergency room to have like urgent care. And I'm like, what's going on? My back's bruised. And they're like, old age? I'm like, seriously? The jerk sent me a bill for $2,200 just to tell me I'm old. I'm like,
it's wild. I have the same thing here. I have lower back pains, and it just started in the last few years. I'm 38 years old, and then you get charged to maybe after home warranty. Maybe healthcare is the next place we're going to go to try and fix
body warranties.
Even though it might be too big of a problem. It's too big of a problem. Maybe I don't know.
You could partner up with chiropractors, like some of like the specialty ones.
Yes.
Right? They give you.
I will tell you, you're probably going to cut this out of the podcast, but if you don't, I think everybody should hear this. I had a blood test in December. It says I had high cholesterol. First time in my life. I was like, no way. My parents have high cholesterol. How can that be? How is it happening to me? And instead of taking pills or whatever, my wife and I decided to change the diet. And I got again another blood test 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago. And I changed my diet completely. 3 months. That's all it took, 3 months. And my cholesterol level went down. I can send you a picture. It was unbelievably empowering that just by changing what you eat, that can change so quickly. Anyway.
So now the next thing you have to test for, and this is a PSA so much, is calcium buildup in your arteries. Insurance doesn't cover the test unless you've already had a heart attack. So when people randomly, quote unquote, like drop dead, oftentimes it's because they had calcium buildup and had no idea. As you get older, it naturally happens. So people in their 70s and 80s, when they just drop out of nowhere, what are you talking about? The person was super healthy. It's like calcium buildup, it comes naturally. But for some people, it happens earlier. So yeah, a couple $100, do the test. There's our PSA. Everyone's going to live longer now so they can pay for more home warranties. So you mentioned how each part of the country have different issues. What kind of issues are you seeing in areas like Los Angeles, or we'll say like similar markets like Los Angeles?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the weather variation. So when it gets really hot, we're going to see more AC breakdowns, and if there's a cold spell out of nowhere, we're just going to get a lot of calls for the heater is not working. I turned my heater on for the first time. My water heater, no hot water. So I think it's weather variation. I need to look into this. In Los Angeles, I wonder if there's a lot of moisture in the air, because if there is, then we're probably seeing rust. We see a lot of that in corrosion. We see a lot of that in Florida and Louisiana. That's a pretty common thing. I'm going to check into Los Angeles and get you after this. What else do we see in LA? It's the weather variation.
I think it makes sense, right? Like I've never had to use my AC. Now when I need to use it, it's not working.
Yeah.
Just like a roof. People are like, oh, the roof's old. I'm like, yeah, but they've never had reported leaks, so why would they replace it? Why would someone voluntarily spend 20 to 50 grand to replace something if it's been fine?
That's exactly right. It's already broken, and just we haven't used it. Now we have to use it. That is usually how it happens with a lot of the claims that come.
For sure. So one of the things you mentioned, we'll use roofs as an example, is like you say that the consumer can pick their own contractors. So how does that fit into your business model? Is it, hey, we give X number of dollars, and then the contractor, you can choose the contractor, but this is the allotted amount? Like, how does that work for the consumer?
Yeah. So first, we're really proud of it.
I think it's a great idea.
I will tell you that this is probably the most valuable Armadillo differentiator. We don't know of any other company. I'm sorry to be self-promotional.
No. It's fine, because we're talking about my question. You answered it, so go for it.
Amazing, because this is the one thing that we don't know of anybody else who's doing it. We have a two-twitch claims administration system. And what that means is when a homeowner calls us, they have two options. They can either say, hey, Armadillo, I don't want to deal with this. I just moved to the city. I don't know anybody in the city. Could you find a great plumber, a great electrician, whatever it is? And then we're going to tap into our network of technicians and find a pre-vetted licensed, background checked, everything with proper insurance technician, and we'll dispatch that technician to the homeowner's home. This is what every other home warranty company does, by the way. These are technicians that they don't work for us. They're third party independent contractors, mom and pop shops, sometimes bigger companies. So that's about 70% of claims. 30% of service issues is the other option that we give homeowners, which is if you want to use your own, if you have a trusted electrician you've used before, who knows you, you know them, you could do that. And that will go through a different experience. Our technology will facilitate a different experience for the homeowner. And basically, when a homeowner chooses to do that, they get an immediate pre-approval for up to a certain amount. Usually it's $350 or $450, depending on what's broken. And they can move forward. They can get their own technician. And if it's over that amount, then they can send us a diagnosis and we'll approve it many times, like on site when the technician is still there. But they get the same coverage levels for both. It doesn't matter which way they go. The only difference is that we may have pre-negotiated really good rates with our network of technicians. So that coverage might go a little bit further, but it's the same level of coverage regardless for the homeowner.
So then let's say, for example, a light switch goes out. I want my own electrician. He comes out, fixes it. Then the light switch goes out again. Yes. Where do you draw the line of, no, you picked the electrician, maybe he just didn't do it right the first time?
That's a really good scenario. So we have a few things built into our product that address this. Yeah. First of all, if it's the same issue and we're sending a technician again, whether it's our technician or it's use your own technician, there's not another service fee. The service fee, the $100 service fee that a homeowner pays as part of the home warranty contract with Armadillo, is a one-time service fee for the issue. So if a technician needs to come again to work on the same issue because the first fix didn't work out, and it's just one-time service fee. This is common. It happens. A technician comes over. They think they fixed whatever they fixed, whether it's an electric issue, a dishwasher, whatever it is, and then they have to come in again. So it's pretty standard. We will only switch, if you used your own, we would only switch to ours if the stakes are a lot higher. If it's like all of a sudden you have to replace the entire system. Let's say a technician comes in again and says you have to replace all your electricity in your home, like the whole thing. You have to upgrade your panel. Then we'll say, you know what, let's look at a second opinion. We're going to send one of our technicians or one of our network electricians. So it really depends on the scenario, but most times the homeowner will be able to use that same technician again, their technician, because a lot of times there'll be a second time repair and they fixed it. It was still a repair. It wasn't something crazy. So it really depends.
To be fair, playing devil's advocate, there's probably some level of warranty with the work. So if that light switch isn't working again, chances are the electrician's going to come back for free anyways. You'd be like, oh, I screwed up, I missed something. Chances are it's probably already covered one way or another without having to get the home warranty necessarily involved. I think maybe it's, oh no, it was a bigger issue, then it can get complicated. What's the biggest thing you guys have ever had to work on?
The big ticket items are HVAC systems, full HVAC
That's
systems.
What I was going to say. That's what I've noticed. Most of my clients, when they've used home warranties, has been for HVAC.
Yeah, and that's usually the reason to get the home warranty when you buy a home and there's an old HVAC system, water heaters, but they're not terribly as large as HVAC. There could be external lines could be very expensive. So that's usually an add-on that could get pretty costly. You could have pool and spa. That's usually an add-on that could get pretty costly. But HVAC is the most common. Like that's one that we see. That's probably the bigger ticket item. And with the regulations around HVAC systems and essentially moving towards higher efficiency systems, not supporting older Freon refrigerants.
Yeah, that's been a new thing, isn't it? I've been hearing it more and more about systems are being upgraded, so old stuff isn't working.
That's exactly right. What happens is a component of an entire HVAC system breaks down, but now you have to replace it with a higher efficiency alternative that doesn't work, is not compatible with the rest of the system. So now you have to upgrade the whole system. So what could have been a repair ends up being a very large replacement. So HVAC is probably the number one claim that's the most, like from a frequency perspective and a severity, just like that we deal with. But that's part of the business.
All right. So then, as a math guy, when I look at these home warranties and they're like, oh, we have 3 different tiers plus all these add-ons, like what, and I get it, every property is different, but what combination have you noticed has been the most effective? That question makes sense.
I think no, it does. It definitely does. So in real estate, if we focus on real estate online, if you go on our website and you just buy a plan online for an existing home, we have an appliance only plan, we have a systems only plan that covers HVAC, plumbing, and electric, and then you have a whole home plan. But in real estate, we don't really have the appliance only and systems only. It's really all the plans cover most of the home,
Right.
because that's what's needed in that when you're buying a new home or an old home if you're moving and purchasing a home. We have different limits of liability, and so we have more expensive plans that cover higher limits. And it really depends if you're moving into a home that has luxury appliances like Viking and stuff like that. We would advise that you get the more comprehensive plan that has higher limits, because you'd want more coverage when and if something breaks down. If you're moving into a home with Samsung, Dell, just the typical kind of appliances, the regular limits you have on the middle tier plan are probably sufficient. Now, granted, if the seller is paying for the home warranty and they're willing to pay for the more expensive one,
you go with the more expensive one.
Just take it, or try and make it stretch. Instead of buying a 1-year plan, take that a bigger amount from the seller and get a 2-year plan. Actually, I think if you're buying a home and you can get the seller to pay for it, I don't think it's unreasonable to get the 2 or 3-year plan. I think it's great, actually, for someone moving into a home. Yeah,
I've actually used that for negotiations when if I'm the listing agent and I've had buyer's agent comes like, oh, we need X number of thousands of dollars. Why? Because this is on its last leg. This is on its last leg. I'm like, but you have a home warranty. Oh, but we don't know how long it's going to last. I'm like, what if we extend the home warranty?
That's great. Okay, that's right.
Why should I have my seller spend $2,200 to replace the hot water heater when they can spend extra $500? And now the buyer has actually more coverage.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah,
and you just and that is the right time to lock in 2 or 3 years. You just knowing what I know now, being the CEO of a home warranty company.
Different perspective.
Next time I buy a home, I'm going to negotiate a 3-year home warranty plan into my transaction.
Oh yeah, no, and again, that kind of makes sense, especially if things are older. There was a house this was years ago. I was trying to convince my wife to have us buy, and I was like, we already know the roof shot. Let's see if we can get the seller to pay for a 3-year home warranty. For that same reason, because I'm like, I already know I'm not going to get a credit to replace this roof. They're telling us up front that the roof's old. Right. So it's harder to negotiate when you're already giving stuff up front. So I was like, oh, this could be a really cool workaround. We didn't end up buying it because my wife's like, no, too small. I'm like, damn it. It was a 10,000 square foot lot. And I knew I could negotiate the price down. So I was like, this could really work. And they're like, nope, damn it. Anyways, we survived. We lived. We're happy. We're good.
and you made the right choice, which is listening to your wife.
I listen to her most of the time. She doesn't listen to the show, so I can say that. She's like, I heard it. As like the company that I work with takes this snippet and sends it to her. I might do that because they do have that kind of sense of humor. So where do you see the home warranty industry going over the next 5-10 years? Knowing that, to be fair, like these sellers are not really budging much on these repairs because homes are older, right? There's homes in LA that are easily 100 years old, like easy, no problem. So where do you see the home warranty company industry going?
Yeah, at a broad macro level, I think it's only going to get better from a home warranty industry perspective. COVID was a big hit. COVID was a big hit to home warranty. If you just carve out the home warranty, after COVID, it became a seller's market big time. And if it's a seller's market, then the attachment rates for home warranties is much lower. It's a negotiation. Buyers are willing to buy a home. Right. If buyers are willing to buy homes sight unseen, home warranty is not like the last thing that's going to be. That's fair.
I didn't think about that, but that's true.
So at a very high level, ever since COVID, it was a big hit, went down, and it's been getting better since then. And I think with all the trends, the big one that you mentioned, homes are getting older. So people are selling homes with older systems. Clearly, it becomes part of the negotiation. Home warranty it was invented from what I understand, unless I heard a myth, home warranty was invented in the real estate market like 60 years ago, precisely as a negotiation tool, as a way to smooth out a transaction. I think it was, and that's what I've heard, but there's no actual history book that tells you for a fact what happened. So I think overall, we're going to see home warranties continuing to stay relevant, and I think there's going to be more and more pressure on the home warranty companies to improve both the coverage as well as how they provide service, which are the two most important things. If you're providing great coverage and you can get a great technician to a person's home quickly, if you get those two things right, you're doing pretty well for homeowners.
Yeah, out of curiosity, because I've had clients ask me this. Let's say they buy a fixer house and they get a home warranty, then they remodel it. Where does the home warranty come in terms of coverage? Is it only at the time of purchase, or is it, hey, you've remodeled it, now we're willing to cover it? I've had people try to be like, can I just give them the home inspection report and have them fix everything? I'm like, probably not. Just because like you had knowledge before getting into this, but like I was always curious how that worked.
Home warranties cover things that break down. So they don't cover old age. They'll cover a breakdown that happened because something got older and stopped working. So a typical home warranty is not going to provide coverage for replacing older systems, but it will cover legitimate breakdowns. So if you buy a home, fixer-upper, and you get a home warranty when you buy this home, that home warranty is effective on the closing date, and it will cover technically the old things. I think it would be a pretty cool product. Maybe we should work on it. Maybe there's a product that is cheaper, because really the intent is to replace everything. You're going to have all new appliances and all that. So technically, if you got the home warranty like on the day where everything is new, in theory, not in theory, in practice, it's a lower risk for the home warranty company. They should be able to charge less. So there could be a pretty cool product that provides some coverage before the rebuild, and then another year or 2 years of coverage at a much cheaper cost when you flip it and sell it. There's probably something there. There's probably a cool product.
Well, yeah, because all you guys would need would be like an inspection report or something that says, yeah, everything's new going into it, right? Home insurance companies do that. They're like, show me an invoice that the roof's new, or show me a permit or whatever. So yeah, you're right. It could be something where it's like, hey, look, it's a fixer today, but I don't plan, it's going to take me some time to replace some of this stuff. And then now that the house has been remodeled, here's proof, here's photos, here's whatever. Can we get a different structure of the home warranty, knowing that the risk is lower for you?
Yeah, absolutely. You could see a product being developed just for that use case.
So there you go. I only take royalties. I only take royalties. I'm not greedy.
If we do this and you email me, I will remember that this is where it came from.
I'm going to memorialize this.
It's recorded. It is recorded.
I will say, that's one of the things I do love about real estate, because people are like, why'd you get into it? And I was like, it exercises both sides of the brain, right? So you have the creativity side, but you also have the mathematical side, like the analytical side. Yeah. And so it's one of the few industries where that really blends.
Totally. And coming from a very mathematical profession, I really appreciate that. I also think real estate has been the lifeblood of many people in this country. What's the most important asset that you own? I know the stock market, forget about the last month, but the stock market has been doing really well. So people have a lot of their 401k and pension in stocks. But the other big thing is the home.
I've had people say, why aren't you investing in the metaverse? Why aren't you investing in this and that? And I'm like, because even the nerds in the metaverse need a roof over their head. Right. I don't need a roof over my head in the metaverse, but like, no matter what, it's like, it's almost like real estate's, I can make an argument that real estate's actually recession proof, because you always need a roof over your head. If the market tanks, it's a paper loss. You just stay the course.
Yes. Yeah. You know what? It's the same with a lot of other things too, by the way. Just the paper value. A lot of people get excited about paper value going up, going down, but a lot of assets, and home is probably the truest, most fundamental thing. You still have a home, and it's always going to be worth something, and it's always your home. Yeah. I forgot about land. Talking about, so like we have this beautiful home in an hour north of New York, and about an acre, and no matter what the value is on paper of this home, this is like a very special place for us. So I totally agree with that.
I love that you're an hour from New York, because in LA, you're an hour from LA. That's how people describe LA. It's like, you can live in LA and still be an hour from LA. Like, it doesn't matter.
It's wild. It's really wild. We're also in New York, to be fair. If you want to go into the city, Brooklyn, whatever, it's usually a ride. But we're good with it. We're used to that. But LA is different. LA is different.
Yeah. I know. Yeah, you guys did it right with public transportation, so you can at least multitask. I remember talking to, he was like a high-level executive of some company. He lived in Pennsylvania, but he always took the train in. Because that's actually, I was like, that's so much time wasted. No, that's when I got all my work done. It's like on the train. Like they were super efficient. Either on the train or he's making phone calls. So that way he could volunteer, do all this stuff. So like, how do you do it all? And he's like, yeah, just do it on the train. I've heard of companies where they'll pick up their employees on like buses and include Wi-Fi on the buses so their employees could work.
I've heard of that. There's a lot of New Jersey executives that will get picked up by buses. They have this app now and they can track it and they get on the bus. I work from home now. It's been 5 years and I love it. I have kids. I have 2 young kids and I get to spend so much time with them because of this. But if I was still working in the city, train would be my preferred mode of transportation. It's great. Yeah. It's so great.
On the real estate agent side, I've actually heard of agents who hire drivers because while the driver is driving to their next showing, their next listing, they're just making sales calls. Like those are like the sharks in real estate where they're doing a few hundred deals a year by themselves because somebody else is doing the driving for them.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah. Super wild. Wow. But I prefer doing a lot of this stuff. So that's cool. This has been amazing. Matan, thank you so much. How can people get a hold of you, get a hold of everything about Armadillo?
Oh, I appreciate you asking. It's simple. Go on our website, www.armadillo.one, like the number one, but spelled out, O-N-E. And there's a real estate page. You can go in there and all of our real estate reps are in there. There's a map. I can find the California executive. They're wonderful. We have such a great team. We're special, a mid-sized company. So I think you'll really enjoy working with Armadillo and they could find us there.
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you again so much for coming on. Thank you for everyone listening or watching, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Want to keep unlocking the secrets to building real wealth in Los Angeles? Stick around for the next episode. Tap the video on screen to keep watching.